Hello everyone, I am Kopanish, and today I'm going to be doing a little guide on combat in Starbound. It's not going to be a fully in-depth guide, I'm going to be working a better one, but for now, I'm going to give you brief little information, stuff you need to know about combat in Starbound. I mean, this is just in general stuff. This is not going to be damage calculations, the best weapons, how everything works. It's just gonna be brief explanations on everything. And let's just jump right in. We'll start off with something very, very simple. Here's your attack for a two-hander. You see the swing? You can actually swing and then walk into an enemy post-swing, which allows you to capitalize or make full use of that single swing. Second thing you need to know about combat in Starbound is that the flying enemies will not bother to come down to attack you. The only reason I can attack them and kill them is because I've got butterfly boost and a lot of energy that allows me to fly around. Eventually, you too will be able to fly around and just murder everything in the sky that annoys you. Third thing, defense. Here, you can see, I've got 36 defense. That means anything under level 36 will be doing less damage to me. For example, this mob is level 17, so everything around here is roughly level 17. So this guy will be doing 1 damage to me because he's level 17. He's almost half my level. Third, and I'll stop counting now. This is a passive mob. Clearly see. He doesn't want anything, or he really doesn't care whether or not I'm around. Kind of feel bad for doing that, but that's just an example that he was an actual mob. Next thing I have in store for you is something that's actually rather important in the game. It's a good source of weapons. There's a potential for legendary. I'm not too certain myself, which is why this isn't a fully in-depth video, as to how it works, but mini-bosses are a common thing in this game, and I quite like it. How will you know a mini-boss? Well, for one, they'll be larger than average, and two, they will have red particles around them. Now, I decided to make this so briefly because I have run into them, and they aren't such a common experience that you'll find them on every planet. But when you do, you'll find 1 to 2 of them. They'll be named, they'll have more than average health, and they will more than likely drop some decent loot. I have, as well as several friends have, found 1 or 2 mini-bosses that drop a legendary hammer. This legendary hammer, many of you may have already gotten, is a bone mace that upon swinging will generate 5 bones that fly outward away from you. They can also break tiles. I will now proceed to show you what a mini-boss looks like. This is one of many mini-bosses. Mini-bosses do not have an exclusive skin because mini-bosses are just enhanced version of monsters found on the planet. This mini-boss here is only an enhanced version of one of the inhabitants of the planet. And since the planet's level's around 17, this guy is only going to be a little bit higher. Now, as you can see before, the other monsters were doing 1 damage to me, and this guy is level 18. I hit him with my weaker of my 2 weapons, which does 6 damage and has 40 armor penetration. You can see he's doing quite a bit of damage to me, even though he's only level 18. And I hit him for 225 damage, and that only did about 60% of his health. So they have quite some amount of health. Right there, you can see he dropped Alarming Star Cutter. It's got pretty fast speed. It's got fire, or burn, whatever you want to call it. Burn and fire. And it's got good armor penetration. Now, while we're on the subject of armor penetration, I'll tell you that armor penetration is extremely important in this game. How it may seem like you want damage, because the higher up level you are, the the more health monsters have. This is wrong, because all monsters have the same amount of health. All flying enemies, all standard flying enemies, have 80 health. Just like the player has only 100 health. Now, I'm saying this now, and as I've said before, this is only a brief video. It's very sloppy. But in the future, they're going to make it so that monsters gain health and the player gains health. But for right now, everything has 100 health, that's normal. Flying monsters have 80 health, which is why I can't do any more than 80 damage to them. And mini bosses have somewhere around 1,000 health. As far as boss health goes, I'm sorry, but I hadn't really paid attention. NPCs, additionally, have a large health pool. Most guards usually have around 100 to 120, and most civilians have either 100 or 80. Let's test now. 120 health, and that was just a standard civilian. And even though that guy's level 20, he still has 100 health. Armor penetration is very important because as you go up in levels for monsters, their defense goes up. So, if my weapon has 40 armor penetration, it will do full damage to level 40 monsters. However, because you have lower armor penetration, you'll be doing less damage to monsters of that level. Same applies to your own armor. And as far as these icons you have go, I'll go over them briefly now, and then that'll be close for my video. You can see here, that is a thunderbolt, and that is a flame. Flame, for now, and although it doesn't make any sense, does 3 damage every second as burn damage. I don't know for how long, because most of the things I fight don't live long enough. The electric effect stands for pulse. It shoots out a pulse when you swing the weapon. As you can see, the pulse has reduced damage, but it still does quite some damage to lower level enemies. Such as these mobs here. If I can get out of here, I can test it out. This pulse, additionally, if you position yourself correctly, can do additional damage to your target while still hitting them with the melee weapon, allowing to increase the amount of damage you can do by even more. And last one is the skull. I don't have a weapon with the skull on it, but the skull is poison damage. What that does is it's just like the burn damage, and it does 3 damage every 2 seconds, or every 1.5 seconds. That's it for now. I'll be more than likely updating this video to give more information, so if you're interested in that, keep in touch with my channel. This is Kopanich, signing off.